to beautiful Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the 2026 edition of Holley LS Fest West. Thank you so much for tuning in if you're watching this at home, and for everybody here at the event, thank you so much for coming and hanging out and watching this incredible competition. My name is Jacob Gettens. I am going to be your host for this evening to take you through qualifying. We have 32 incredible drivers, all with beautiful V8 power underneath the hoods, that are going to be throwing it down to get the best qualifying score possible to go into head-to-head competition tomorrow for our top 32. So we're going to get things kicked off here really, really quick. We're going to get through qualifying and just have a fantastic time. Things are going to be a little bit different. If you watch a lot of drifting, they are going to do their runs back-to-back. We are not going to let them go back for a break. They're not going to change tires. They're not going to fill up. They may not even let the engine cool down. They're going to go out, do a run, come right back, do another one right after that. So that is the plan here this evening. As you can see, the beautiful mountain range in the background. And Mr. Nick Swan on the line, as I believe we have Margaritas Catsandis, who is pulling up to take his first qualifying run of the evening, the first qualifier right now, and we will update you with scores, and we'll do everything in our power to keep you up to date on everything that is going on here this evening. Thank you so much once again for tuning in, for hanging out, and for the drivers and staff for taking some time to put on this incredible show for everybody in attendance. As I said, my name is Jacob Gettens. This is the Drift Challenge at Holley LS Fest West, sponsored by Michigan Motorsports, presented by Kenda Tire, and some of the amazing supporting brands we've got on board for this weekend: Grip Royal, Kansai Wheels, Limited Glove Co., Rugged Radios, and Simpson Racing Products. And that is the LS Doctor himself, Margaritas Catsandis, just getting those tires warmed up. We'll get qualifying underway here in just a moment. If you are tuning into the YouTube channel, thank you so much. Feel free to drop some comments, drop some questions, cheer on some drivers. Happy to have you. And if you're here in attendance, thank you so much for hanging out with us all day. Got a beautiful sunset underway, a nice breeze to keep the smoke out of the drifting arena. We are just about to get underway with our first qualifying run with the LS Doctor himself, Margaritas Catsandis. There he goes. He gets the signal to hit the road. And our first qualifying run is underway. Margaritas looking really good through that first outside zone. It's 3 outside zones on this track, starting with a really big wide left-hander. Oh, and Margaritas overshooting just a bit. And that looks like that's going to be an incomplete on his first one. Not a great way to kick things off for the man from Greece. He's going to flip it back around. Like I said, we talked about this. They are going to be doing their runs back-to-back. So no time to chill out, no time to check the car. He does have the option of a 5-minute timeout, which means during qualifying, if he does think there is an issue and he wants to get the car looked at, he's going to have 5 minutes to do so. And Margaritas going to take a second stab out of here. Getting those tires lit up. See if this initiation looks as good as his first one. So far, so good on that first outside zone. Fresh lines down on track. We do have 32 drivers, so all the drivers are going to be making it in a competition, but you do not want to be in last place. You want to have score on the board and not be taking on the #1 qualifier by being the last place qualifier. And so far, Margaritas already pushing past his first run, throwing a couple of cones out for good size. He will get a score on the board and a 360. Always extra points in my mind. Next up, let's see if I can get the name off of that car. We should be getting a score rolling in here shortly as Ian Koenig. I thought so. Production staff behind the scenes able to jump on that even sooner than I can, so We're getting a score on the board here soon. I will let you know what that score is. But in the meantime, we're going to get Ian Koenig out on the course, taking on his first run of the day. Bit of an e-brake initiation there, looking solid through that first outside zone. Car moving around just a little bit. Looking pretty steady on this 3 outside zone track. So far, so good. Man, really getting on the throttle. Bit of a clutch kick there into his second transition, pushing that car out nice and wide as he floats out and then into our 3rd outside zone. So it's a pretty tight radius corner. He's able to get across the line. So great job there from Ian Koenig. And once again, once I get some scores on the board, I will let you guys know, both in the chat here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Lights now on. Drivers have not been able to practice under the lights. This will be all new to them. We should be able to get his next run underway pretty quick. We got our cone chasers out there. Thank you so much to all the volunteers and all the staff out here for this event, for making this possible. It means a lot. And it looks like we're going to be good to go here just momentarily. Is the track now set up again? This track layout done by Travis Reeder, former pro driver, now upgraded to judge. Much easier job, in my opinion, than having to come out and drive all these events. Although, I believe he does have his car with him, and he'll be doing some ride-alongs tomorrow. If you are in attendance, you want to do a ride-along, you can check out the Holley booth. Get signed up to do that. Ian Koenig back out on his 2nd run. A little bit shallower through that first outside zone, having to push a bit wider. Pretty soft rear end in that car, as you can see him now transitioning out to the 2nd outside zone. Big clutch kick again. Gets that car just wrangled in. Able to hold that line pretty well to our 2nd outside zone. We'll see if he clutch kicks for a 3rd time. Now he's going to back off. There it is. A bit more throttle to get the car around, and just a little touch out towards the wall. Across the line for Ian Koenig. The driver opted for a 360 at the finish line. Not worth extra points, but always good to get the fans going, get them cheering. It looks like Jeff Jones going to be pulling up the line here, getting those tires scrubbed in. One of our California-based drivers. Longtime LS fan. I believe he's had it in several of his chassis. I think almost all of his chassis, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure Jeff will correct me if I got that wrong. Get a couple more cones wrangled up. There's Nick Swan, just making sure the track is clear before we go out and send cars. Wind picking up. A little windy here in Vegas this evening. Temperature dropping down to a balmy 78. I apologize. I know people are waiting on the scores. I will have that to you just shortly. We're getting a few things figured out, but we'll have those for you, and I'll update you on qualifying as soon as I've got that. Jeff Jones, a longtime competitor, is now out there. First outside zone looking very solid. One of the drivers did an incredible job earlier on in practice. A longtime high-level competitor. He's based out of California. He's done incredibly well in competition over the years, and very, very smooth through all these zones. You can hear the throttle control, but he is making this look absolutely buttery through all of these zones. Cross the line with a ton of wheel speed and a big plume of smoke. I think we got a helicopter above us taking a closer view. Might have to charge them admission for how long they're hanging out. Jeff will line back up. We'll get our next run underway pretty quick. And Jeff's first run, I got a feeling that is going to be probably our best run so far, looking pretty solid. And now Nick sends him off. Jeff with a ton of wheel speed right off the line, getting those tires lit up. Initiation looks solid. Didn't see an e-brake grab. Bit of a left foot brake there, as you can see that front tire smoking. It means he's applying the brake with his left foot just to slow that car down just a bit while still keeping the rear wheel spinning. Allows him to pivot around and get a bit more angle on the car. And we can see from our camera angle now where Jeff is looking all the way through the corner. A very, very solid run. Oh! And Jeff throws it for a loop. The end of our second outside zone. Not like Jeff at all, but his first run should be putting him into a pretty high ranking spot. And that will be an incomplete or a 0 for Jeff Jones on his second run. But Jeff throwing that 360, getting back out there. And I believe that is Nima Voss, if I'm not mistaken. And that green, gray, and blue E36. Nima Drive has been around for a fair bit of time now, doing a lot of driving. Oh, failure to launch. Might have missed a gear on that run-up. Not able to get that car out sideways, so he's going to loop back around. That will be an incomplete on the first run for Nima Voss. Not a great way to kick things off for him, but I'm guessing going to be taking his 5 minutes. So he's going to get 5 minutes to take a look at that car. Make sure everything is all right. Might have just slipped out of gear. Hopefully nothing too bad. Engine still running strong, of course. Get into our next driver. S chassis, beautiful livery. Get some eyes on that name tag. Figure what driver we got here. John Schaefer pulls up to the line. That is an absolutely stunning livery from John Schaefer. Gonna be supercharged on that LS. You can see the intake pickup for that supercharger poking out of the back. Great placement. I love that look. I know it's not for everybody, but it is for me. I think that's all that matters. So John Schaefer. Let's see what this looks like for him. It looks like, oh, Nima Voss actually snapped an axle on initiation is what I'm hearing back. So right now, Margaritas, high score of a 73. Koenig would have been a 45, and Jeff Jones a 72. So Margaritas is your top qualifier right now. John Schaefer, though, looking really good. Remember, these scores all out of 100. The judges will give them the highest points, or give the points for the highest qualifying run that they do. And right now, John Schaefer, very solid out there. The ton of angle coming through outside zone 2. Things looking solid for outside zone 3. Bit of left foot braking. You can see the lights, brake lights on the rear of that car firing up, and John Schaefer across the line on his first run. Checking that front end. You'll sometimes see drivers doing that, shaking the car back and forth. A couple of reasons. One, make sure everything feels nice and tight and right. And sometimes you see them deliberately understeer. It's actually to warm up the front tires. Getting good temp into the front tires means that they will not understeer, hopefully, in competition. But for John Schaefer, I don't think that's a problem. That looked good. See here on his second run for Schaefer. First outside zone looking clean from this perspective. Judges up in the cherry picker. You might see them in the background, the big green machine, and that's they get a view that a little bit better than we got here. Just they're able to see top down, but you can see just how fast John is through this section. A better transition through 3 and able to keep it a little bit tidier than the first one. And there, the judges perched up on that tower up top. That pop and bang. Hopefully get a score on the board with that one. I believe now we've got Jason Buchanan and pink, white, and blue FRS. And it looks like Schaefer, best run so far with a 56. Judges actually giving him a 0 on the first one. I'm guessing went a bit off track on that one. So now Jason Buchanan, where will he land? That Jason livery on the side. That beautiful 8.6. Trying to get that car all the way out to angle, having to throw a lot of left foot brake into it. Get that car to rotate around. He's fighting a lot of grip. You can see just how much that car is dipping in the rear. Very soft suspension in the rear means it's going to have a lot of rear end grip in the car, which can be fantastic, but it can also mean it's a little bit tough to get the car to rotate around. You want to loosen the car up just a bit. And what I mean by that is make it a little bit easier to drive. You want it to be a little bit slidier on track, if you will, for lack of a better term. You actually want to tighten up the suspension a bit, maybe throw a little bit more air in the tires, but looks like he's going to be getting a 35 on that first run. I'm guessing that first outside zone not looking great. So really, really having to fight the car to get it out there. Jason Buchanan is going to get things back out there. A few other competitors deciding to find the red line. But yeah, solid run. I mean, not amazing from him. I think that first outside zone really fought him. But the second half of that run definitely cleaning things up. So Jason's going to have to huck it pretty hard through this first outside zone. And same thing, fighting a little bit of understeer. So all that weight jacking in the rear to really get the grip into the car means there's a lot less weight on the front, and steering becomes a bit more of an issue. That car, very, very soft suspension. You can see it bobbling around. Every time it comes off throttle, it dips forward. Every time it goes on throttle, it decides to dive in the rear. Jason's going to get another score on the board. That second score is going to be a 56. So improving that score, he's up to a 56. That would tie him with Schaefer. As of right now, your number one qualifier, Margaritas, with a 73. Cody Brettenstein, going to be your next qualifier. Great liveries this week. I got to give everybody a round of applause for putting some good time into these liveries. Cody as well with a little bit of understeer coming through that first outside zone. Front end not wanting to bite, sending it out. There we go. Wind dying down just enough for us to get a drone back up in the air. It was quite windy earlier on, so now we can get that view for you to really show you what this course layout looks like. Fairly simple, 3 big outside zones. There we go. You can see a little bit more of what the judges are seeing for Cody. And look at that livery. So much going on. That is going to be a 65. 65 for Cody on the first run. Be looping it back around and did a great job. Didn't throw too many cones. We'll be able to get a reset and get him back out on track here shortly. Once again, thank you everybody in attendance for sticking around tonight. Main show, Top 32, is going to be on tomorrow. For everybody online, appreciate all the comments and words. Now your support to watch this competition. Cody Brettenstein out for his second run. Looking a lot more stable. Dipping just a wheel out. You can see that decreasing radius coming through, so you can get on throttle. Transition looks good. Floats it out to outside zone 2. And he is locked in. Party lights on. LS absolutely screaming. Holds that second outside zone well, parks it in for the third, back on throttle, full lock all the way out. And that'll wrap up that run for Cody. Another 360. I think I might judge the 360s. I mean, I think right now Jeff Jones takes it for the best 360. Any of the other drivers watching, feel free to huck him. Let's see it. I want to see it. I'll give you the crispest of high fives for the best 360 I see this evening. I believe that is going to be Roberto Guerra. That IS 300. The car running a bit. That negative rake. So the front end a little bit higher than the rear. You'll see this oftentimes for drivers really trying to get a lot of rear end bite out of the car. To be honest, I don't feel super necessary this evening. Roberto, yeah, really trying to find a lot of grip. I did get back. That last run was a 66. See what's going on here with Roberto. Missing a lot of that second outside zone, unfortunately. Drivers gotta loosen the cars up a little bit. I know you can find a lot of grip. You can make a lot of horsepower with these LS engines, but make it a little bit easier to drive. So Roberto is going to get a score on the board, it looks like, but maybe not the score he was hoping for. He will flip back around and get a text message in here from the judges, and that'll be a 45 on that run. So definitely needs to make a bit of an improvement. Roberto back up. Nick Swan gives him the go-ahead, and away we go. Not many. I think he is the only Lexus right now in competition. We'll see if he's able to improve that score. First run of 45, and that decreasing radius in the second half of that zone is really coming down to haunt him. Now, we've got a big mix of drivers out here this weekend. We got all the way from the top-level pros to drivers that are relatively new to competition, maybe even a couple of first competitors. Good spread of drivers this evening here at LS Fest. And it looks like that is going to be an incomplete for Roberto on the second one. And I believe that is Blaze Potts. I don't even know if I've got him on my driver's list. There he is, Blaze Potts, FC RX-7. Not many of those in competition anymore. I mean, we're starting to see a bit of a resurgence on them, which is interesting. But, yeah, Blaze Potts, California-based. Running a fair bit of competitions. Very, very solid driver. And just a touch of a left foot brake through the first part. There's that decreasing radius that we talked about. Looking great through that first outside zone. Second inside zone, or outside zone, gets into it nice and early. Sets the car up well. Really working the throttle. Finding the grip in that section after the third outside zone. That is a solid run from a man with an incredible name. Blaze Potts. I swear that's his legal name. Deciding to swap out the old rotary for something a little bit more modern, and that is going to be a 73 for Blaze, and that is going to tie him for first place right now with Margaritas. Solid, solid run out of that drive. And he is going to take her home with one headlight. Off the line, little backfire there. Little flame never hurt anybody. Looking a little bit funky to that first section, but doing solid through that second half. Able to get that car incredibly sorted. And now setting things up for our second outside zone. Things are looking good there for Blaze Potts. Does a great job through these different radiuses in these turns. There to the third outside zone. Is that going to be enough? Touching the wall, Blaze Potts. Decided to end it off on a high note. No 360, but that's all right. Decided to go for a wall tap. Blaze Potts absolutely throwing down here in our final outside zone. See what the judges think. Score coming in at 82. Our top qualifier so far is Blaze Potts. Big round of applause for him. An incredible run there. I had a feeling that was going to be a good one. And it looks like, I think we've got an E30 out on the line. Can't quite get a name off of that one. And looks like Albright. Yeah, Jared Albright. There we go, Jay. graphics guys on it. An E30. Not a chassis we see drifting around too much. Was driven a lot by Andy Haitley back in the day. Really championed this car for a bit, but he swapped over an E46. It's just a tough chassis, beautiful chassis. I don't want to see Jared get anywhere close to that wall at all. It's an incredibly well-maintained car. I say that as the dent is revealed in the passenger side door, but great looking car. You can see him once again checking that front, making sure the alignment is all good, making sure everything feels nice and tight through there, and we'll get a judge call here in just a moment. Jay should be getting the go-ahead pretty quick. That's going to be a 43 for him, missing a good chunk of zones. Tough go in that car. Tight little wheelbase on it. Steering system on it is not, I would say, up to modern snuff. I believe they originally came with steering boxes instead of the rack and pinion that we all know and love and enjoy when it comes to drifting today. And it looks like we got the go-ahead. Mr. Jay Albright. Flashing through the gears, gets that car flicked over. He's getting a little bit wider into that zone. He's really got that car wicked up. He's definitely running pretty tight. He's just not able to fulfill the zone the entire way. A lot of speed out of it, but not a lot of smoke. That's telling me the wheel speed is not quite where he needs it to be. Got to get that car loosened up. Get through the rest of that run. So that's going to be a tough run there. Jay Albright, what is an absolutely stunning vehicle. And it looks like he's going to be stuck with that 43. So 43, Jay Albright. Not a worse score. Definitely want to improve that a little bit. Next up is Logan Hunter. That gray S14 looking real solid through our first outside zone. Changing radius, definitely getting a few drivers caught out, but Logan making it look really easy. Great throttle control all the way through that first outside zone. Looking solid in transition, yellow headlights blaring. See a lot of drivers run that. Helps cut through a bit of the smoke. The white tends to bounce a lot more, but there we go. Logan getting all the way out to that first outside zone and just kissing the wall. Great run from Logan Hunter. Gonna be ripping back out here in a second. I got a feeling Logan's gonna be throwing a 360. Seems like the kind of kid that likes to go crazy. So the drivers are not in any particular order. They're allowed to line up at any point in time to go get their qualifying run done. Some opting to get it done nice and early so they can hang out and watch the competition. It looks like Logan with a 77. 77. Logan Hunter, I believe that would move him into second place as of right now. Solid run. Get a couple more cones moved, and then Logan will be back out there ripping. He goes off the line, finds the gear, smashes in the second, gets the tires lit off. A little bit of a left foot brake. Trying to get that car nice and wide through our first outside zone. Not sure if this is going to beat his first score. Seems like now those tires nice and warm, a little bit more skatey. As that tire gets really hot, there's a point where it starts to lose a bit of that grip. Logan doing a great job being able to keep that under control, transitioning a third outside zone, absolutely crushing that cone out, pushes it out, not quite as far out to the wall. So not sure if that second run is going to do it for him, but a 77 on his first one. And 79 on his second one, so he does improve. He's going to hold down that second place spot as we get Seth right out. Another Corvette driver. Well, like I said, we'll see a few of these this evening and the same amount tomorrow in competition. Pretty much a ready-to-go drift car right out of the go. So if you want to get into drifting, this is a very viable option, as we talked about earlier on this evening. Find them now at just a hair below 10 grand, depends on how much damage you want to deal with, but they're in and around that $10,000 mark, and they really don't need a lot to go drifting. Fantastic, fantastic vehicle right out of the gate. Throw a cage in it, get that diff locked up, maybe a bit of a steering kit, some angle kit. Lots of brands available to do that. Pick your poison, and that car's ready to go. Throw a handbrake in, make it a little bit easier to get that car sideways and make some corrections, but realistically, almost stock, you can have this car sideways. Seth Wright gets his first run underway, doing a great job through that first outside zone, pushing that out nice and wide. Can he hold on to it? Does a great job making that correction. Seth Wright gets caught out a little bit and has to cut a lot of that first outside zone. Can he make up for it in the second? Looking fairly deep in a much better position through our second outside zone. Gets the car loaded up through the third, kicks that cone out of the way, close to the wall. So Seth Wright struggling a little bit in our first outside zone, but does a much better job through the second and third. We'll have to flip things around, and our judge will give us the score here shortly for Mr. Wright. Get that track reset for him. Looks like that's going to be a 45. So a 45 for Seth, right? Let's see if he can improve that first outside zone, just eluding him a little bit. Car, as soon as he got on power, gripped up a lot. Needs to work on that just a bit. He'll know that inside the vehicle, not the run he was hoping for. So see if he makes any corrections. Now, unfortunately, because we make these cars go back to back, they can't make any setup corrections unless they call their 5-minute timeout, which we did see there for Nima Vaz. Be doing an axle. Seth able to do a bit better of a job, but yeah, just cannot get that car pushed all the way out through the second half of the first outside zone. Now he's getting a little wild with the cones. Seth's going to have to clean things up a fair bit before he gets into competition tomorrow, but he will get some track time nonetheless. Changing conditions, track cooling off, tacks up, makes it a little bit more difficult for these drivers. So you got to keep that in mind. This is the first time they've driven on this track at this time of day, these type of temperatures, as the temps start to plummet. And that is going to be a 42. Judges let me know, just shallow in all of the zones. I believe that is Kevin Darwish, driver out of Canada, making the way, long way, all the way from the Great White North, fellow countryman. Kevin Darwish been around for a hot minute. Not new to competition at all. As he was able to do. A lot of Canadian drivers you will find, especially out of the Quebec, the French-speaking region. Very loud-looking liveries. They love their bright colors. They love their chrome and reflective. Seems to be just a style of that area. Kevin Darwish out to that first outside zone. You can see that left foot brake again. So when you see that front wheel lock up like that, it means that they're touching that left foot brake to try and keep that car wrangled in. And Kevin not able to get all the way out to the second half of that first outside zone. It's a very, very large zone to kick things off. A little bit better through our second, able to keep one wheel in. Now through our third, gets things planted a little bit better and just about out to the wall. I'd say a fairly decent run there for Kevin. Very, very well built car. One of our kind of pro level builds, if you will. And judges coming in saying a 40 on that one. So just kind of shallow in all the zones. We really want them to have their wheels all the way into those boxes like we talked about. Really want to get them pushed out nice and wide to make it easier in competition tomorrow. And already looking a little bit better for Kevin Darwish. Oh, but again, just not able to really get things pushed out through that zone. So we want to see them a little bit closer to those pylons through a lot of it. Just not getting that from the Canadian. Third outside zone, though, looking much better. You got to remember that zone is quite tiny in comparison to our first few. And that second half of the first outside zone, eluding a lot of drivers. It's a tricky section. Coming through with a lot of speed. It can be kind of tough to get that car to come out nice and wide. See our next Corvette coming up to the line. Yeah, Kevin, early out of zone 1 and early out of zone 2. So we need them fulfilling that entire section, and he is going to get a 47. So a little bit of an improvement. Still not great. Judge is pretty tough tonight, not going to lie. Take a look here at this gray Corvette, I think. I'm trying to figure out who it is. Real tough to see the name with a very complex-looking livery on the side of it. Might be able to get it as he flies by. All I know is it's a very long last name. I might be able to get it here in a minute, but struggling through that first outside zone. Definitely struggling to get that car to come out and get to the zones that he's looking for. Not going to be a great score. So maybe the drivers are listening in or watching in the pits. I would say take a fair bit of grip out of that car. Throw another 10 PSI in it. Stiffen up those shocks just a little bit. And it's going to make it a lot easier on yourself to get around this track. It seems like this track has tightened up quite a lot. Made it a lot more difficult. So he's going to get a 32 on that one, missing most of the zones. Get a few more cones wrangled up. Looks like we're going to be getting him off the line here in just a moment. And it looks like it's Fortuna Cola, the driver that is out there. Let's see if he's able to improve. Once again, car pretty tight, struggling to get through a couple of these zones. But just how this car is currently set up. He's pushing out nice and wide. Definitely fighting the car all the way through. And that is going to be a 32 for Andre Prstunakola. If I got that name right. Tough one. Next up, another S chassis and Nick Ward. See Nick's able to do beautiful livery on this car as well. Our driver, it's been around for a minute. Big initiation there, really getting that car swung up, but it bites him. Not able to get it back out. Now he gets the car wrangled in back into the first outside zone. So opting for a big old initiation to get that car snapped out into angle. Unfortunately, it makes it a little bit tougher to really keep that line. You can hear him absolutely revving the heck out of that car. All the load on that LS engine. Now coming through that third outside zone, looking much better there for Nick Ward. See how the judges play this one out. There's a fair bit of aggression and style in that first run. And I think that's going to help a bit on the style side of things. But unfortunately, it meant that he had to chop a lot of that first bit of line. See how the judges feel about that first run. But Nick Ward, either way, taking a bit of a slow roll, making sure those temps are in a good spot. Before he pulls back up to the line, goes for a second run. No cones hit, so he'll be able to run this pretty quick right after. No need for a cleanup, and we'll get the go-ahead there from Mr. Swan. We'll see there. If you take a look at it, Nick's gloves is red on the palms, let the drivers know to stop. And then he'll point, and that is their go-ahead. Nick Ward gets the go-ahead for his second run. As his first score should be coming in here in just a moment. Update you on that. Nick, good feint to get out there. Big pop and bang from the exhaust. A little bit of flame coming out. First outside zone now. Really getting that filled out. Much cleaner initiation on that first run. Allowing him to get out and really hold that first outside zone quite well. This already feeling like a lot better of a run there for Nick Ward. The judges gave him a 0 on that first one, so he's got to get this score on the board. There he is, pushing out nice and towards the wall. Nick Ward with what looked to be a much better second run than the first one. I think that first one would have been considered unchaseable just with that initiation. Really didn't get that car out. And a 66 for Nick Ward. I think this is Zach Zemlock. Sorry, 67 for Nick Ward. Yeah, Zach Zemlock. Very clean E46 BMW. Probably going to be one of our quicker cars out there today. Looks like going big old breather out of the hood. Classic look. E46 are almost always very fast cars, very grippy, and you can see that. As soon as he gets on the throttle, that car not wanting to push out. I really do think these track temps are affecting these drivers quite a lot tonight. Used to a track that is a lot slippier when the sunlight is hitting it. But now Zach able to get things a little bit more sorted. Now the tires lit up. Doing a much better job through the second half of this run, and we'll see how it plays out in the judges' eyes. But E46, one of the most popular chassis in drifting for a long time. Harder and harder to find every day. Zach able to find a pristine version of that car. And it looks like he's going to be getting a 23. That first outside zone really coming back to haunt Zach. Yeah, initiation just not what the judges were looking for. Not able to really get it out there. And Nick gives him the go-ahead for his second run, and we'll see what Zach's able to do on this one. There we go. Bit better on the initiation. Still really not able to get that car out. Really has got to huck that thing a lot harder than he has. And that is going to be his struggle all the way through, is that initiation. Got to set that up to have a good initiation will lead to a good chase. So for Zach, the second half of this run, somebody's able to really get dialed, but the first part, judges probably want him to throw that car on significantly harder than he had on that previous run. That's going to be a straighten in that first one, which will mean a 0 for him. Next up, and that is going to be Jose Aguilar in that GTO. Not often you get to see a GTO. Only a handful of them out there really in competition level drifting. This thing sounds amazing, looks incredible. Would love to see more of these out drifting. There he is getting that big old goat out on our first zone, really carrying great momentum. We'll see how that looks when it comes to our zone score. Really pushing out wide through our second outside zone. Clutch kick there to get the car out even wider. big transition. Probably a heavier car. Maybe you would like to see. Headlight coming on there right at the end for Jose. That is a big, big vehicle to be getting around and drifting. And yeah, just generally shallow on that run. I'm going to be a 47 on the first one. I wonder if a few of these drivers hanging back, wanting to see what the track looks like before they want to go out and do their runs. I don't blame them. I think I'd rather, it's tough to say, you could go out in the beginning where you know the track conditions because you were just out there, or do you wait, see what the track conditions are like a little bit later on? You can make some adjustments. Jose's got to be locked in. And that might be an incomplete for him. That is not going to be considered a chaseable run for him, because you're not able to do a good tandem with what he laid down. So for Jose, might as well use up the rest of the runs. Well, it looks like George Kirakopoulos will be warming up his tires in the background in his orange 370Z. Big wing on the back. I would be giving out extra points for a big wing on a car. I'm a massive fan of it, especially that color match. Looks great. George Kirakopoulos taking a couple of years off drifting, but getting back into it. Another absolutely stunning car. Can eat off the engine bay. It's so well done. And should be getting the go ahead here. Having a little conversation with Nick. Not sure what he's discussing. Nick giving him a go-ahead either way. There we go. George onto the line. Off in the second, gets the car out. The car fighting that grip, but able to get things a little bit better. First part of that zone, not great. Sinks it in for the second half of our first outside zone. Back on throttle through transition. A little bit of a weird correction there. Goes into the second one. Now really getting on throttle, trying to get that car sunk into the second outside zone. Transitioning back out to our third one. We'll wrap that around and not getting close to the wall. Car's too clean for that for George. You let me know, we were chatting a little bit earlier on, that is a crate engine. He ordered that with a warranty, running 10 pounds of boost in it. It's already a year in on that engine, so he absolutely loves the build out of it. Let's get that car delivered in a crate, ready to go, drop it in a drift car, and you're off. And that is an incredibly clean and well-built 370Z. And that is going to be a 53 for George on that first run. That's due to zones not getting filled and a little bit of a lack of commitment. One of the things the judges look for, how hard you huck it in. That was a lot bigger of a huck there for George. He's got to hang on to it, though. He's going to power through this zone and try and sink it in a little bit deeper in there. Not great, but definitely better. Car leaning over to the side. So transitions back out. Should be able to do a much better job here on outside zone 3. A little bit wider through there, and George across the line and wrapping up that run. Drivers just trying to jockey for their spots and where they're going to compete a little bit later on. You got to remember, the lower you qualify, the harder your first battle is going to be. I think this is going to be Alex Quiros, the green C6, if I'm not mistaken. Can't read the name placard from here, so I think that score for George not going to be even as good. That's only going to be a 50. So 53 on his first one, a 50 on the second. And not too bad off the line. Having to push out wide. You can see all the smoke coming off that front tire. Tries to get the car to come out to the outside of that zone for Alex. Finding all the grip in that car, but we need that Corvette to push out a little bit wider through these zones. Tons of smoke there at the end. He's able to get the wheel speed out of it, just maybe not right off the bat, not in the beginning, and that's where a lot of these drivers have been struggling, is that first big outside zone. Tough go. He'll loop back around and hang out with Nick Swan there for a moment. We'll make sure the track is all set. Judges put in their score. And he'll be taking a 41 on that first one. Got to remember, 100 means that they're basically on the edge of the zone all the way through. They're super quick, snappy on everything. 100 has only happened in drifting a handful of times. Very, very difficult score to get. Alex, I'd say a better transition there and already starting to fill that first outside zone much better. He's got to pull a little bit of angle out of the car to try and shoot out for that second half of our big, big first outside zone. Second outside zone already looking a little bit better. See him sinking back and forth. Really trying to massage that Corvette into the right spot. Good transition in outside zone 3. Gonna be wrapping that run up. That'll be a... Let's see what we get on the score. Left zone 1 early and 2 a little bit early as well. That'll be a 57, so an improvement. But still needs to work on a few things. And I think that is Ryan Fisher on the line now. You can see the absolutely stunning backdrop that is Las Vegas behind these vehicles. Drone up in the air. Wind finally cooperating with us. Very, very windy this evening. Having to make a correction to get that first outside zone absolutely locked in. Sparks flying off. Not sure if that was off the chassis or off the brakes or where that was coming from. Ryan Fisher throwing a cone out to the side. This car a lot less gripped up. A lot more floaty. I'd say a little bit better of a run there than we've seen over the last couple of drivers. Ryan Fisher definitely making it look a little bit easier. Big pop and bang out the back. And that's going to be a 70 from Mr. Ryan Fisher. I think he's got a little bit more in it. I think he can improve that. If that's his first run, I'm seeing something hanging down behind the front wheel. Not entirely sure what that is. Judges liking how committed he is on the initiation, but ended zone 1 a little bit shallow. Fisher now out. Good initiation there, really getting the power on, adding a bunch of angle. See if he can hang on to it. Still struggling with the latter half, but sinks in a little bit better. Good job from Fisher. Second outside zone looking solid now. A little bit of wavering coming through that zone. Starts to dive back in, loads that car up for outside zone 3, getting really all the way out to it. Cross the line, we'll see if he's able to improve on a 70. 70's gonna put him up there right now. Probably top 10 for sure, maybe top 5. Next driver up on line. And that is going to be an improvement up to a 74. It's a little bit better on that outside zone 1. And a 74. Yeah, it's looking through my notes here for their next driver. And that's Tarek Steele. Thank you to our graphics group for helping me out here. Tarek very aggressive there on initiation. Does a good job. Man, that thing is quick. That is a very quick car. Got to get it dialed. It comes up pretty shallow through our first outside zone. Floats it out to our second. Back on throttle. Good job of starting to push the car, massage it into that zone. Transitioning out to the third zone. Looking fairly good there, and just about getting it out to the wall for Tarek. Yeah, definitely a little bit better of a run there. A lot of the drivers really fighting that first outside zone, but I think Tarek did a decent job through there. Needs to clean things up just a touch, but yeah, left zone 1 early, and rest of the zones need a little bit of love. That would be a 55 on his first run for Tarek Steele. So here we go. You can see first outside zone looking a little bit better, adds in that bit of angle. And I think, honestly, it's adding the angle in that's fighting him right there. Should be just keeping it a little bit shallower because of how long that zone is and how fast that zone is. That would make things a little bit easier for him to be able to get all the way through. Let's see how it looks as our next driver. That looks like TJ Hunt out in competition. We'll get that second score on the board. That's a 62 for Tarek Steele. And TJ Hunt now up in that matte black Corvette. Not getting a lot of seat time in with this car. Hasn't done a ton of driving with it. Whipping that car to the first outside zone, having to really massage it to get it out. Been able to really fill that second half of the first outside zone, a spot that a lot of drivers have struggled with. Second outside zone seemed a little bit shallow through the first part of it. Looking better now, though. TJ really coming to the table, but going a bit wide through our third outside zone and punching a few of those cones out. But the spot in the track that most drivers have been struggling with, that being the second half of the first outside zone, that last section where it tightens up a bit, TJ seems to have that fairly dialed. And he will whip back around. Thank you, Mr. Hunt, for making it out here. He's got an insanely busy schedule. He's able to get the car out here while everything else, all of his rig, everything else on the East Coast. And TJ Hunt will get a 69. It was a nice run from TJ Hunt. Let's see if he can improve that. There we go, the city glistening behind him. Off the launch. Big initiation there to push that car out. Another quick car. Adding a bit too much angle, and TJ off track. And that will be an incomplete for him. Unfortunately, pushing a little bit too hard. He's trying to pick up those extra points, but with a 69, he should be fairly happy with that. Seeing another Corvette up the line. This one, very shiny red one. Got a few drivers that were late entries here, so we don't have all their information up. So not entirely sure what car we've got lined up there. I'll see how this Corvette fares. big fan initiation, and that was Jose Santos. And that car is very, very grippy, and it looks like Judge has already given him a 0 before that run is even complete. Guessing that initiation just not chaseable. We really got to get that car out to angle early. As we said, we got a full lineup of different drivers, different skill sets out here, all the way from the pro levels, drivers in mostly stock vehicles, to give you an idea of more or less the different levels of drifting that is available to you. Competition drifting, very, very difficult. You got to remember, a lot of these drivers have not driven in well over an hour, if not even longer, depending on what their day has been like. So they have to sit in the pits, get ready, and then go out and try and be perfect. It's an incredibly difficult thing to do after hanging out for a long period of time. And Jose getting another run at this. Hear that car now in gear, second, smashing it off, really getting that down, but he is far too much inside in that Corvette. I think that is going to be, I mean, I can tell you right now, it's not going to be a fantastic score for Jose. Come back through this last section, so just not able to really get that car to float out to the spots on the track the judges are looking for, all those zones we talked about earlier, and that is not going to be a great time for him. Jose just happened to be there. Now we got Marco Tellez out in another Corvette. Getting that power down. Oh, and a big waiver there through that first outside zone. Able to control it, doing a little bit better. Now, once you get that jitter out of the way, through our second zone. Power back on. There he is, doing a good job massaging that car into second outside zone, catching that cone. That green cone has been used and abused pretty brutally. And ooh, just shuts it down next to the wall. That could have been a little bit dicey, but Marco does a good job. Could have been a bit dicey there, so came very close to straightening that car out as we take a look, and that'll be a 42 for Marco Tellez. 42. And it looks like our cone crew already getting that back up and ready to go. Marco Tellez back off the line. See if he can improve on a 42 on his first run. A little bit better there, getting that car to float out through our first outside zone. He's getting real deep through there. Now he's doing a much better job. This is feels like a completely different driver here for Marco. Can he keep that rolling all the way through? Because right now, things are looking pretty solid for Marco. The nerves he had in that first run seem to be gone, just kissing the rear bumper on the wall. Marco Tellez leaving an impression for that second run. It looks like Amanda Sorensen pulling up to the line. Already a fan favorite, it looks like. I was already told he's going to get a 65, and the judge is saying he picked up 2 extra points for Flames. Anybody else want to update their tune? Holley makes it easy. Log in, give us a little bit of a little burble, little backfire. It's all right. Amanda Sorensen off the line. Looks like it got that geared up for third. Really getting on the power now. Some left foot brake corrections, but able to keep it in the zone for the most part through that run. Big flash there. I don't know if that sparks was from some underneath or just pops and bangs from underneath the hood. And another one, more flames from Amanda Sorensen. All the way out to the wall. And we are here, and that is going to be an incomplete for her. She straightened and then reinitiated. Really got to get that tidied up for the second run. This is definitely a high-level car, high-level driver, so it's not the initiation she was looking for. Let's go at it again. Right back around. A couple more cones put back in place, and Amanda will be getting the green light here, or the green glove, from Nick Swan momentarily. There we go. Amanda Sorensen able to get off the line. Hopefully his initiation goes a little bit better. Now she gets out there again. Now pushing wide. I think that is going to be, unfortunately, a double incomplete for Amanda Sorensen. This track this evening has been absolutely ruthless to these drivers. Has not made it easy for them, unfortunately. I think a lot of them are going to have to take note for tomorrow that the conditions that they practice in are nowhere near the conditions that this track is in right now. See how the temp seems to be settling in around 78. Shouldn't see any more. And now Mr. Caleb Quanback pulling up to that line in his BMW. Caleb been around for a fair bit of time. Walter's BMW. Another Kenda Tire driver, one of the sponsors here this evening for the Holley LS Fest West Drift Challenge. Caleb Quanback in the car way out there. Now he gets it into that zone. This is looking much better. You can see the moment he gets on power, does a great job through that first outside zone. Good amount of angle, good transition. Second outside zone looking solid. Quanback seems to be absolutely on it right now. Second outside zone, filling all of it. Oh, but going a little bit wide through our third outside zone, hunting towards the wall and holds onto it. How will the judges deem a bit of a points loss there by going a bit wide? But either way, Caleb Quanback might make it back just purely in aggression. We'll find out here momentarily. Judge is able to text in for me. Let me know all the scores in real time. But I think Caleb Quanback was very, very aggressive. Does a great job through that first outside zone. But as I said, in the third outside zone, going a bit wide and slinging those cones out. And just waiting on a score there for Mr. Caleb Quanback. Taking a look here in the chat, looks like Cameron Sorensen's been hanging out. One of our competitors, while waiting, has been in the chat here on YouTube asking about who's doing 360s. That says to me that Cameron Sorensen might want to whip a 360. And that's going to be a 67 for Caleb Quanback. So unfortunately, the going off on 3, I think, was a bit of a detriment to him there. I mean, the first outside zone looked great, but unfortunately, going wide is as much a setback in your score as going shallow. So love the aggression, love the initiation. Outside zone 1, one of the best ones we've seen so far, but a little bit too much sauce on outside zone 3, and that is what is going to knock his score down. But Caleb is going to get a second run at it here in a moment. Thank you, everybody, once again for coming and hanging out, and both the chat and here at the event itself as we make our way through qualifying. Caleb Quanback now getting the point of Mr. Swan for his second run. He's got to clean it up just a little bit in that second half. Great initiation there. Car hooks up almost immediately through our first outside zone, and that BMW is very quick. Nice and tidy, adding that angle on to our first outside zone, transitioning nice and smooth to our second. Caleb just a little bit outside the perfect line for that zone, and now transitions out, catches one cone, catches two. Oh, Caleb again going a bit wide through that section, so we'll see if that score improves. But unfortunately, once again, finding himself on a very, very wide line through that part of the track. And I believe that's Kenyon Ross in the 318 Compact. Not a BMW you see all that often. Yeah, it's waiting here for Caleb's second run. What kind of score is coming in? But yeah, Kenyon Ross should be getting the go-ahead here momentarily. And it looks like a 66 for the second run for Caleb Quambach, if nothing but consistent in his scoring. Kenyon off the line. That stubby little rear end of a BMW. Immediately on that left foot brake to push the car nice and wide. Trying to find that ideal line, but unfortunately coming in really shallow through that part of the course. That BMW making all the grip, even with a tiny trunk. Kenyon now fighting to get out and leave a great impression in the third and final zone. Parks that out, and we'll see what the judges think. Love to know what the chat thinks as well. If you are here in attendance, you can feel free to log into YouTube as well, join the chat. Everyone hanging out, having a conversation about drifting, and a few of you coming out. So that's going to be a 36 for the 318 of Kenyon Ross on his first run. Off the line, little tire squawk. There we go, a little bit better already through first. Oh, now he starts to push out. That could have been it for Kenyon. It looked really, really good through the first part of that zone, but just not able to fill them. And it looks like he has got 3 wheels off track, which automatically results in an incomplete. If you are 3 wheels off, that is considered a 0. Kenyon coming across the line, so he is going to have a 36 and an incomplete or a 0-point run. As now Rome Charpentier, another pro-level driver out here, one of his many cars. Another big BMW and LS driver. I can't remember exactly which car this one is, if this is Send It Sally. He's got nicknames for all of them. I'm expecting big things out of Rome on this run. He's a driver that has been known to put down solid qualifying. I don't want to hype him up too much and provide the announcer's curse. Great initiation there. Left foot brake to get that car settled and in the proper zone. Coming through our first outside zone now, transitioning back out. Snappy transition into 2. Really laying the power down. And that BMW, you can hear that engine under load all the way through. Back on throttle through 3, pushing out wide, just hunting for that wall. And Rome will wrap that run up. That car has been around for a hot minute. I'm not sure if that's the same one he ran in Pro 2 back in the day that hit the wall in Texas really hard and shot the radiator off into the track. And that's going to be a 75 for Rome. Rome Charpentier with a 75, which I believe is going to put him in 3rd place. No, 4th. now take his second stab at it. Already looking a little bit tidier, and you can tell immediately how much quicker this car is than a lot of the other vehicles that we've got out this weekend. Able to find a ton of grip while still maintaining that line all the way through. Rome is so good at setting these cars up and finding it. Oh, right there, right out to the edge of the wall. Now the pops and bags and a 360. Extra points for me. Big round of applause there for Rome Charpentier. And up at the line now, the younger brother of Amanda Sorensen. That's Cameron Sorensen. I believe our youngest competitor here at 15 years old. He's been driving for a couple years. Honestly, I know he started at 13. He might have even been driving at 12. Sorensen family. All three of the siblings in competitive drifting at a very high level. Cameron, very aggressive that first outside zone. Really massaging the throttle to try and find the grip in the line. A little bit of left foot brake again in a great spot. Sets him up really well through that zone. Good transition into two. You can see him just absolutely beelining to these different zones and trying to set himself up to the best spot. It's a good looking run here from Cameron Sorensen. I do have to say, pushed out nice and wide of the wall. Will we see a 360 from him? Maybe on the second one. He was in the chat earlier on, asking who's thrown 360s. So that to me says that young man wants to put on a show for everybody here. And that was a phenomenal run there from Cameron Sorensen. See how the judges deem it as he is already off the line. Rip raring, ready to go. Another big initiation from the young man. Pushing that car, he does such a great job of massaging the car into the correct spot. Could be a little bit deeper through that section of the track, but so far so good. Second half looking solid, going even deeper than he did on the previous run. Absolutely crushing the rest of this track. There it is, big left foot brake, really pushing that car out, loading it up. And a big rolling smoky burnout to wrap things up. No 360. I think it's because he can't see. He is completely smoked out in that car right now. That's going to be an 85. An 85 for Cameron Sorensen. And I think, got to double check my math here, but I think that puts him in first place right now. Is Austin Phipps pulls up to the line in that Audi, four-door Audi. Looks like it should be on the way to a business meeting and not here drifting. Big whip out on that car. Audis are not known for their drifting prowess, but he's doing a great job so far. A little bit shallow here to that first outside zone. Always great to see a unique chassis in drifting. Really pushing the sport ahead. Having to do a fair bit of work to get this car to do what we need it to do. Deleting all that quattro and all-wheel drive. Putting all that power to the rear wheels. Get that car around the track. So Austin Phipps, good job. See here, judges' thoughts on that one. I think being a bit shallow to that first outside zone, going to come back to haunt him. And it does, a 37 for Austin Phipps. Glittering lights in the background. I absolutely love that view. couple of the partners and sponsors and vendors out here at LS Fest. Hope to see everybody in attendance here tomorrow. A few of you in the chat already letting us know you're going to be hanging around, so we appreciate that. Austin Phipps going to take a second crack at it. Love the way he gets that car out to angle. Big style points in my books. Does a better job already finding that zone. He grips up just a bit, able to massage the car back out into the end of that first outside zone. Second one now looking dialed to getting the heat onto those tires, finding the grip, finding the angle as he transitions back into outside zone 3 in that cone one more time. I think we got to retire that cone after today. It's been through enough. Austin Phipps flying out to the end of the track here. Can he improve on the 37 he had on that first run? Find out here momentarily. I'm just realizing that car is turbocharged. Is a rear-mounted turbo. I was wondering why the intake was so far back, and I wasn't sure if it was something funky. That's a 72. 72. What an improvement. Oh, wow. And this is Nima Voss back out again after having to change out that axle. And if I'm not mistaken, this might be our last competitor of the evening. I'm not seeing anybody else up. It's Nima Voss breaking an axle on his first run, getting that swapped out. Now back out to the line. Just wanting to get a score on the board on a car that was under the knife not that long ago. Nima Voss now really putting the power down. They would have gotten it back just in time to get back out for this run. And Nima Voss getting a 0 on that first run and now getting his second one in the books. And we'll find out here what that means for him scoring-wise. And that's going to be a 49 for Nima Voss to wrap things up. Speaking of wrapping things up, I believe as all of our competitors this evening. So thank you once again for coming out, hanging out, sticking around tonight here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for Holley LS Fest West for 2026. This was the Drift Challenge qualifying, sponsored by Michigan Motorsports. Thank you so much. Presented by Kenda Tire. Some of our other partners are Grip Royal, Kansai Wheels, Limited Glove, Rugged Radios, and of course, the all-important Simpson Racing Products, keeping you safe. Thank you once again for hanging out. Thank you, everybody in the chat. We'll be back tomorrow with Top 32 actions. Make sure to check out Holley on all the social media to get up to date on when we will be going live. Make sure you hit subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. Turn on that notification bell so you know when Top 32 is back tomorrow for all of our head-to-head action. We'll have all of the updates ready for you then. My name is Jacob Gettens. Thank you so much to all the staff here at the track and at Holley, and at all of the volunteers, as well as safety crew, media, and everybody that makes this possible. And to you, all of the fans, you have yourself a great evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Holley's low ram and ultra low ram intakes are now available for all LS3 engines. If you're looking for a powerful induction setup for your LS3 and don't want to massage or replace your hood, Holley's low ram and ultra low ram manifolds are just the ticket. Designed specifically for turbocharged and supercharged applications, the short high flow runners maximize power at high RPM. Best of all, these low ram manifolds can be configured to your liking. Here's some of the options you can choose from. The low ram manifold allows current high ram plenum tops to be fitted to the low profile manifold. It's designed to allow for a plenum mounted intercooler for a shorter overall height than possible with other existing manifolds. The ultra low ram manifold has a very low profile. With a custom throttle body adapter, you can easily create new inlet packaging solutions. You can choose between single or dual fuel injectors for either the low ram or the ultra low ram versions. This opens up the door to high volume fuel demands such as methanol combinations and even flexible fuel strategies. Ultra low ram plenum tops can also be optioned out with or without a burst panel flange. A billet aluminum burst panel exit duct is also available. And finally, you can choose between satin or black matte powder coat finishes. If you're looking for maximum power in a small package, look no further than Holley's low ram manifolds. Build your induction setup at holley.com.
Get your hands on the hottest helmet on the market. The Simpson Voodoo is our lightest, most aerodynamic helmet ever, and it's now Snell SA 2025 certified. It's for racers who push their competition to the limit and beyond. So visit your favorite retailer to get yours, or visit us at simpsonraceproducts.com.
The RaceQuip Pro 25 is the evolution of our best-selling Pro 20, now Snell SA 2025 certified for the next cycle. It delivers pro-level protection at a grassroots price. Proven, certified, get yours at racequip.com.
Introducing the all-new Hans 4, lighter, safer, and more versatile. Certified to SFI and FIA standards, it's perfect for all racers. With advanced motion control and custom padding, the Hans 4 delivers unmatched comfort and protection. Upgrade your safety today at thehansdevice.com.
I was broke, pocket full of lit. Now I'm on the bricks, getting paid like no other dog. Now I'm stacking chips.
Today we're taking a deep dive into Holley's line of ram manifolds for LS and LT engines. Coming in with the maximum amount of clearance is our ultra low ram manifold. The compact design allows for a custom fabricated inlet, allowing for more hood clearance options. Ultra low manifolds are available in single or dual injector versions for maximum power and can be had with a burst panel flange. Burst panel ducts are also available from Holley that use the standard large burst panel flange. Ultra low ram manifolds feature 105mm throttle body compatibility and a contoured castine that can be ported. It's our most compact and feature-laden EFI intake available. These are available for cathedral and rectangular port LS engines. Next, you'll find our low ram manifold line. It's low in profile as well and is about 2 inches taller than our ultra low ram manifold. Low ram manifolds, as well as our mid-rise and high ram manifolds, feature swappable plenum tops for multiple entry configurations. The low ram is designed to aid the packaging of a plenum-mounted air-to-water intercooler to attain the same clearance as a high ram. Low ram manifolds are also available in single or dual injector versions for those high boost methanol powered combinations. These are available for cathedral and rectangular port LS engines. Next up is our mid-rise manifold. It is different than our other Ram manifolds in that it is actually a dual plane style manifold. This street strip style manifold will perform best under 6,500 RPM. Like the low and high Ram manifolds, it also features the same swappable plenum. This manifold works great with naturally aspirated combinations and those with limited hood clearance. Also available for cathedral and rectangular port LS engines. Our high Ram lineup is where it all started. Designed with no height limitations, an aftermarket hood or modification may be required. These manifolds are best for large cubic inch engines and high RPM. The modular top will allow you to swap between single and large diameter throttle bodies, or even go all out with dual throttle bodies. With a blank flange top, you can fabricate your own entryway. Either way, the high Ram will want big cubes, high RPM, or boost to keep it happily fed. The high Ram is available in cathedral and rectangular port LS engines, as well as LS7 and LT1 engines. NOS even offers a sandwich-style nitrous plate that's designed specifically for the Ram lineup. The high Ram is also available in a non-injector version for our carbureted comrades. Should you want to go to EFI later, you just need to machine the injector bosses. Build maximum power and performance with Holley's line of Ram intake manifolds. Holley's race bred split design single plane intake manifolds let you extract every ounce of performance from your high winding LS. Designed for race engines with 400 plus cubic inch displacements, naturally aspirated or with power adders. The large volume 4500 plenum and optimized runners provide maximum airflow potential. The split design allows you to access the internal plenum and port surfaces. Custom porting and port matching is easily done. These fit all Gen 3 and Gen 4 LS1, LS2, LS6 cathedral port heads. By incorporating shoulder bolt locators and a captured O-ring seal, reassembly is easy and precise. Two versions are available, one for EFI that includes billet fuel rails, and one without injector ports for carbureted or stealth EFI 4500 style applications. Extract every ounce of performance from your high winding LS with Holley's split design single plane intake manifold.
Ready to elevate your driving experience? Meet our Club Series composite seats. They're Simpson Racing's first ever FIA certified racing seat, and they're designed for both automotive and UTV applications. Simpson Club Series seats were built for drivers that demand performance, safety, and comfort all in one package. Our Club seats are FIA 8855-1999 certified and are compatible with 4, 5, and 6-point safety harnesses to keep you locked in and race ready. At its core, the Club is based on a lightweight, one-piece FRP composite shell, delivering exceptional strength without all the bulk. Dig a little deeper, and you'll find extra thick memory foam padding throughout the back and seat cushion area for all-day comfort without sacrificing control. Club Series seats are available in 16 and 17-inch widths to ensure a secure and comfortable fit for a wide array of drivers. Choose between our full cloth upholstery or our premium vinyl with cloth inserts to match your build and driving style. We've even made the installation easier thanks to our universal and customized mounting kits designed for your vehicle. So whether you're a motorsports enthusiast, a car builder, or you're tearing up the trails in your side-by-side, Club Series composite seats are the perfect starting point for a safer, more comfortable ride. To learn more on how you can outfit your vehicle with our Club Series composite seats, visit us at SimpsonRaceProducts.com.
Engine swaps are now easier with Holley Swap Essentials for LS and LT engines that fit into most popular 60s through 90s GM cars and trucks. offered in 5 different levels with savings that stack along the way. Holley Swap Essential packages are designed for any budget, from engine and transmission mounts to oil pans, full exhaust systems, and front accessory drives. All packaged components work together for a hassle-free installation. Learn more about Holley Swap Essentials at holley.com. Take control of your engine with Terminator X Bluetooth module. Compatible with iOS and Android smartphones, this plug-and-play module connects wirelessly with Terminator X and Terminator X Max. With the Terminator X Bluetooth module, you'll have real-time monitoring and adjustments at your fingertips. Customize your live dash display, including vehicle speed via your phone's GPS. The built-in Terminator X EFI wizard makes tuning a breeze. Get yours today at holley.com and take control. Holley's low ram and ultra low ram intakes are now available for all LS3 engines. If you're looking for a powerful induction setup for your LS3 and don't want to massage or replace your hood, Holley's low ram and ultra low ram manifolds are just the ticket. Designed specifically for turbocharged and supercharged applications, the short, high-flow runners maximize power at high RPM. Best of all, these low ram manifolds can be configured to your liking. Here's some of the options you can choose from. The low ram manifold allows current high ram plenum tops to be fitted to the low profile manifold. It's designed to allow for a plenum mounted intercooler for a shorter overall height than possible with other existing manifolds. The ultra low ram